What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, legendary 8-division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer, Manny Pacquiao. He continues what comes across as his obsession with rival, legend, retired Hall of Famer, former 5-division world champion, former pound-for-pound king, still showing that he is still possibly the pay-per-view king, retired 50-0, defeated Manny Pacquiao May of 2015, that being Floyd Money Mayweather. Every time Floyd Mayweather, who is now retired, every time he fights an exhibition bout, or when he had his crossover sport fight with UFC superstar iconic future Hall of Famer Conor McGregor, Manny Pacquiao, he questioned Floyd Mayweather's moves. He stated that Floyd Mayweather, when he fought Conor McGregor, he was making a mockery of the sport of boxing. Now, this because Manny Pacquiao himself, he wants to face Floyd Mayweather in a rematch. It was built up for 5 years that Manny Pacquiao was the man to finally dethrone Floyd Mayweather since 2010. Okay? It was built as this is going to be the fight of the century. And it was just that. It turned out to be the biggest fight in the history of the sport of boxing between Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. But it was built as the man to finally defeat the outspoken, brash, flashy lifestyle Floyd Mayweather. He was going to be the guy that finally silenced Floyd Mayweather, put a blemish on his resume. And well, the fight turned out to be anything but that, as it was not even competitive, as Floyd Mayweather essentially won 10 rounds to 2. Some people say 11 rounds to 1. Some people be generous and they'll say 9 rounds to 3. For the most part, it was abundantly clear that Floyd Mayweather won the fight. And he won it pretty handily. And so Manny Pacquiao, he cited a shoulder injury, the reason why he couldn't perform to the level of everybody's expectations and, well, his own expectations. Okay? And so he said that it was his shoulder injury that prevented him from being his normal self. And he wanted a rematch with Floyd Mayweather. And after Floyd Mayweather, he heard that Manny Pacquiao cited that his shoulder was the reason that he was unable to perform as expected. Floyd Mayweather was unwilling to give him a rematch. Because, you see, since 2010, even 2009, when Manny Pacquiao beat Miguel Cotto and Ricky Hatton, everybody was talking about Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather, he was open to the idea of fighting Manny Pacquiao. He just cited that he wanted Manny Pacquiao to take Olympic-style testing, because Floyd Mayweather was privy to some information, allegedly behind the scenes, and he wanted the fight to be on an even playing field. So Floyd Mayweather said, yeah, I don't mind fighting Manny Pacquiao, but it's going to have to be on an even playing field, and he's going to have to do Olympic-style testing. Because in a long history of the sport of boxing, we've never seen a boxer come from 108 pounds all the way up to 154 pounds. 8-division world champion. That's never been done in the history of the sport of boxing. At Manny Pacquiao, he's currently 62 wins, 7 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout. He himself was knocked out 3 times in his career. He's 42 years of age, stands at 5'5" with a 67-inch arm reach. So he's clearly not the biggest guy, okay? And since he's not the biggest guy, he started his career at 108 pounds. Some say it was even smaller than that. Very little guy. And Floyd Mayweather, he had questions. And he said, well, let's take Olympic-style testing and make sure everything is on the up and up, because if you're going to fight me and you're going to beat me, it's going to be on an even playing field. Well, the boxing world, boxing pundits, fans, they turned on Floyd Mayweather. Wasn't hard to do because he made himself the villain since he fought Oscar De La Hoya back in 2007. So it wasn't very hard for Floyd Mayweather to get the fans to essentially completely switch on him. And so everybody stated Floyd Mayweather, He was essentially just avoiding Manny Pacquiao. He just didn't think and was confident that he could beat Manny Pacquiao. Although Floyd Mayweather wasn't the only one questioning Manny Pacquiao's strive through the ranking system, as he was dominating. He wasn't just winning, he was dominating. He got stronger, he got faster, more stamina as he progressed through the divisions. And so Floyd Mayweather questioned it. He said, let's do Olympic style testing and make the fight happen. Manny Pacquiao was reluctant to do so. So Manny Pacquiao, he cited that he simply didn't like needles. Manny Pacquiao, he cited that taking the test was going to make him weak before the fight. Manny Pacquiao, he cited that he wanted to be aware and he wanted to be privy as to when they was going to come and test him, which should have raised a lot of questions in many people's eyes, as it did, but not enough. It should have raised questions in everybody's eyes. Why do you need to know when they come? Why are you saying you against needles when you have multiple tattoos? I mean, that's the worst needle you can possibly receive because it's constant. Okay? Why are you against Olympic style testing if you have nothing to hide? And so that's where Floyd Mayweather stood. But not the fans, not the boxing pundit, a lot of the media. They were quick to place blame on Floyd Mayweather's doorstep instead of holding Manny Pacquiao accountable for not just simply taking the test. And then here we go, 2005, and Manny Pacquiao, he says, you know what? I'll just agree to take the fight and I'll agree to take the test. And some people said, well, it's 5 years too late. And once again, they didn't place the accountability on Manny Pacquiao. They once again placed it on Floyd Mayweather. Even though Manny Pacquiao had now agreed to take the Olympic style testing 5 years later, nothing changed on Floyd Mayweather's part. Nothing changed on his stance. Nothing changed on his demands. It changed on Manny Pacquiao's. And one should question, why did it take 5 years to switch for you? Why did it take 5 years for you to change your mind and your stance? And some will say, well, that's because he simply just wanted to give the fans the fight that they wanted. Well, why didn't you do it 4 years earlier? Why didn't you do it 3 years earlier? When you saw that Floyd Mayweather wasn't going to budge. He was going to stand on his square. Floyd Mayweather is actually older than Manny Pacquiao by 2 years. So currently, Floyd Mayweather is 44 years old. Manny Pacquiao is 42. So at that time, Floyd Mayweather was the older fighter by 2 years. So if anybody didn't have time to spare, it was definitely Floyd Mayweather, because he's a fighter that relies on reflexes. He's a fighter that relies on timing. Manny Pacquiao is more of a power puncher, very aggressive with a beautiful left hand in the southpaw stance. Right? So if time was slipping and Father Time was going to tap anybody on the shoulder, it would be Floyd Mayweather, right? Well, Manny Pacquiao, he fought Juan Manuel Marquez, his rival, 4-division world champion, Mexican superstar boxer, in his fourth fight, and he was brutally knocked out. He was dropped in the fight, then he was brutally knocked out. And in that fight, after the fight, Manny Pacquiao, well, he had his own concerns. He raised an eyebrow to Juan Manuel Marquez suddenly having power. Juan Manuel Marquez's physique looking completely different from the first 3 fights. And he said that he wanted Marquez to have a 5th fight and take Olympic-style testing. And then the fans started to question, well, why wouldn't you take Olympic-style testing when we calling for you to fight Floyd Mayweather? And so eventually he did. He conceded. And that should have raised eyebrows. But he got in the fight, and Floyd Mayweather completely nullified his left hand, completely nullified who he is as a fighter, and he dominated the fight. As most people expected, except for the people that are Floyd Mayweather's detractors and just simply wanted to see a blemish and a stain on his resume that he was so proudly boasting about him being undefeated. And so Manny Pacquiao turned out not to be that guy. And I believe his competitive nature is starting to, well, not even starting. It's bothering him that he couldn't live up to it. At least make it action-packed. So now, Manny Pacquiao, every chance he gets, he pokes at Floyd Mayweather. He most recently poked at Floyd Mayweather in his exhibition with YouTube sensation Logan Paul. And today, he invites Logan Paul into his training camp as he was looking to fight UFC legend Conor McGregor as well. Years after Floyd Mayweather fought Conor McGregor, and which is one of the biggest lucrative fights in the sport history of sport of boxing as well. Right behind Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. And it was very successful. And Manny Pacquiao, again, he stated that Floyd Mayweather was making a mockery of the sport of boxing by fighting Conor McGregor. And then Manny Pacquiao, just recently as this year, was seeking out a fight with the very same Conor McGregor. And he cited that he just wanted to experience what it's like to grace the square circle with a UFC fighter. Just happened to be the same guy Floyd Mayweather fought. Now he invites the guy, he says Floyd Mayweather's making a mockery of sport of boxing again by fighting YouTube sensation Logan Paul. And now that was June 6th. Now Manny Pacquiao, he invites Logan Paul into his training camp. They're buddy. And now he's saying that Logan Paul told him after watching him train and spar that he's glad that he fought Floyd Mayweather instead of fighting Manny Pacquiao. Yesterday, they held a press conference for Manny Pacquiao and his upcoming mega showdown with undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer, who is widely considered by many to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, in Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr. And in that conversation, during the press conference, Errol Spence was asked about Floyd Mayweather in a press conference around the time he fought Logan Paul in the exhibition, saying he was rooting and pulling for Errol Spence to win the fight against Manny Pacquiao, and that he was going to reach out to Errol Spence, give him some pointers, give him some tips, help him come down and help him train and prepare for Manny Pacquiao. And when he was asked about this, Errol Spence, he stated, Floyd Mayweather hadn't reached out yet, but it's not uncommon for him to reach out when I have big fights because he's done it before. It just happens so this involves his biggest rival in Manny Pacquiao. And well, Manny Pacquiao, he cut the reporter, and Manny Pacquiao, he stated that no disrespect is when he stopped the reporter, and he said, at the end of the day, I don't believe that he needs Floyd Mayweather's help at all because he's simply better than Floyd Mayweather, and actually he can teach Floyd Mayweather a thing or two. Maybe something like actually standing and fighting. Well, that's just a testament to Manny Pacquiao not being able to cut the ring off on Floyd Mayweather, not being able to, pin Floyd Mayweather down and land his big punches. So there, Manny Pacquiao, we know he always struggled with pure boxers, counter punchers, skill boxers. He shines when it's boxers such as, power, aggressive power punches, guys that are flat-footed and walk forward, and look to knock him out. Those type of guys. Manny Pacquiao with his quick feet, Manny Pacquiao with his quick hand speed, Manny Pacquiao, southpaw stands, very unorthodox, very quick. He flourishes when the guys are just standing flat-footed and come right there, and he doesn't have to look for them. He struggles when there's guys that he has to look for, essentially, and they could counterpunch him, and they could time him. And that's ultimately Floyd Mayweather's biggest attribute. And again, Floyd Mayweather is very great on defense. So Manny Pacquiao struggled with Floyd Mayweather. So he cited it was his shoulder. It's abundantly clear Manny Pacquiao can't get Floyd Mayweather out of his head. He's living in his head rent-free. And every chance he gets, he lets us know that he hasn't let down. He hasn't gotten over Floyd Mayweather defeating him. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all we got for y'all. Peace.
Oh, it is your boy Jada Kiss. Make sure you check out Blue Blood Sports TV. It's going down.